Marathon.
Peanuts and caramel.
Marathon.
Peanuts and nougat.
Marathon.
Peanuts and peanuts.
Comes up peanuts.
Extra peanuts.
Extra peanuts.
Comes up peanuts. Slice up peanuts.
All hail, you terrestrial pedestrians! It is I, the pan-galactic princess of pansexual pandemonium, the super heavyweight super villain in their non-binary finery, and Rise's grand champion regent, Commander Sterling. And on April 24th, I will have the absolute pleasure of facing Kimberly Spirit in my very first match since 2019. Kimberly Spirit, my good friend. Thank you so much for agreeing to meet me in a Sterling Rules match. I promise it's 100% fair. 100% fair. April 24th at 3 p.m. Eastern, the Go Professional Wrestling Twitch channel. Come and watch Commander Sterling in a Sterling Rules match. Come watch some of the gayest wrestling in town, yeehaw. And also the time has come at last for my peaceful transition of power. The Rise Grand Championship will be on the line between David Lawless, my good friend, and either Ziggy Hyam or Erica Lee, depending on who wins their match. It's been a wonderful time with my strong gold son, but I must... Sometimes you've got to let them go. No? Anyway, here's why Outriders is shit. Outriders was published by Square Enix on April 1st, 2021. A fitting release date, perhaps, as every time I attempt to play Outriders, I feel the target of some crude practical joke. Outriders released on April bloody 1st. It is now April bloody 19th, and as of the time of talking, I still cannot play Outriders. I simply can't get into the goddamn thing. And I don't mean in terms of taste, I mean literally. Despite featuring a campaign that can be played entirely solo, Outriders forces its players to be always online without extending the same courtesy to itself. Outriders, at least for me, doesn't have to be online at all, despite costing $60 to buy. I paid that $60. I am currently in the process of trying to get it back. I'm fully aware that others have had no problem getting into the game they bought, and that's fantastic. People should be able to play the games they buy. I'd love to be able to play the game I bought, but instead I'm in the process of trying to get a refund because, and I don't know if I've made this clear or not yet, I cannot play the game I bought. I bought Outriders for money, and I don't know if I can say I had more than 2 collective hours playing the thing. I know I've only managed to get to level 13 in the 19 days since this useless bastard of a game came out, and that's mostly because the demo saves your progress. Ever since I first criticised the game for being so fucking useless it can't even sign me in, people have been mad at me. They've been angry at me for not giving the game a chance when I've been more patient and more fair with Outriders than the damn thing ever deserved. They've been angry at me for daring to be angry myself that I paid $60 goddamn for something that literally hasn't worked for me. A product so broken in my personal experience that I consider it recall worthy. A product so defective it reminds me of that awful fucking Steel Battalion game for Kinect. But worse than that, because despite being a functionally useless product that didn't work and should have been torn from store shelves with extreme mercilessness, at least you could play the fucking thing without non-functional servers acting as an arbitrary and literally unhelpful barrier between myself and the game I fucking bought for money that I bought it with. Look folks, you can be mad at me for this, but unlike other times where people get mad at me for having an opinion about a game, this isn't even my opinion. It's fact. And we already saw this kind of overly loyal territorialism with Cyberpunk. where those who identify themselves purely and solely as gamers in defense of corporate products started denying actual fucking reality, attacking a game reviewer, as they like to do, when all that reviewer did was explain that she had a literal fucking seizure from the game, and apparently it was blasphemy to dare to speak up about it. People have suggested I'm a liar, straight up told me that nobody's experiencing what I'm literally experiencing, and generally I'm having to deal with being shit on as per usual for daring to not invent experiences I haven't had. I can't just pretend the game works for me. I can't pretend to have someone else's opinion on the game. I can only tell you what I've experienced, and what I've almost entirely experienced with this piece of shit game is its fucking menu. In many ways, this throws up interesting questions about games criticism, doesn't it? How do I, as a critic, describe my time with Outriders when my time with Outriders has been not having any time with Outriders? I've done my best. It's made people mad, but I can't make shit up. And let's not forget, the reason I can't play Outriders is because of a distinct design decision with Outriders. The reason I can't play the game was put in there on purpose. So fuck this game. On the rare occasions I've gotten into a game, it's been a broken mess, enemies walking in the air, obscene levels of skipping and stuttering, lag up the arse, glitches so frequent and embarrassingly amateur they belong in a Steam Direct asset flip, and worst of all, frequent crashes. Some of this shit ain't even server-based, it's just Outriders being a broken pile of crap. This is all on the PS5 version of the game, by the way, and I'm not alone in having this horrible, deeply unpleasant time with it. Whenever I've mentioned it on Twitter, bringing receipts of the errors, people tell me it never happens. Others have backed me up, saying they've also struggled to be let in by the deficient gatekeeper that stands between me and my goddamn fucking video game I bought for money, please, thank you. There's being protective of a game because of a mean reviewers' opinions, and there's denying someone's actual reality to defend corporations that continue to sell shit garbage with unhelpful and wholly unnecessary restrictions on when and how a purchased entertainment product can be played. If I bought a movie and couldn't watch it for over 19 days because the film itself wasn't online enough to be watched, I'd be very reasonable in seeking a fucking refund. Why is complaining about being effectively locked out of my own fucking purchases for absolutely no justifiable reason unreasonable? Why, in fact, should anybody find it reasonable that we're expected to always be online for games that never have to be online themselves? Why are we not holding publishers to the same standards they hold their fucking customers to? Why are always online requirements for games that can be played single player even a thing? Piracy, despite often being used as a justification for always online requirements, is practically a made-up problem in terms of the way in which the industry presents it. They claim it impacts game sales, sucks money out of the industry, and is a rampant enough problem that it requires tons of time and resources to solve, even apparently on console. The truth is, there's not enough data to support the industry's claims, or pretty much any claim it ever makes. Most things the industry's claimed have been proven bollocks time and time again, and DRM measures have historically hurt customers just as much, if not worse, than potential pirates. Case in point, my lack of ability to play Outriders because it's always online, except for me, apparently. Is it personal? Is it Square Enix? Is it personal? Why is this fucking game always online, for Christ's arseholing's sake? I mean, I can think of very sinister reasons regarding data gathering. Through an always online connection, a multi-billion-dollar corporation like Square Enix has free access to hours upon hours of precious user data, knowing when they log in, how long they play for, etc. The idea is often presented as beneficial for the end user. Developers can use this information to tweak the game, to better balance it, etc. The fact data is incredibly valuable to marketers and advertisers is, I'm sure, just a happy side effect. In fact, Let's just guarantee right now that no AAA video game publisher has ever sold your data. No, totally not. It's not like the industry has more player data than it knows what to do with, or has a well-deserved reputation for doing its own audience dirty or manipulating or abusing people or systems. I'm sure giving companies this much constant access to your hardware and own human behavioural patterns is a good idea. I mean, for fuck's sake, some of these games are monitoring your dialogue and story choices, literally learning about your morals. Or lack thereof. Naughty. The fact of the matter is, when a game has no reason to be played online but is forcing you to do so, the motives for doing it do not include your convenience as a customer. It certainly doesn't guarantee your ability to play the game, and yet this is a problem that has been ongoing for a decade now. A fucking decade! I remember launch problems with always online games being a huge controversy in the early 2010s, and now, like so many grotesque overreaches on the part of the game industry, it's been accepted as normal. We've known how unacceptably bad these issues can be for a long time. We've seen them render games unplayable for days in the past, be it SimCity 2013, Diablo 3, right up to recent games with reported login problems at launch, such as Anthem or The Division 2. We're supposed to be patient and give them time to get the game working, as if it's unfair to be upset that you spent $60 on something that doesn't work for days. Don't take fucking money for it until it works. How about that? Be patient with us giving you the cash. Whether it's for a year or a day, selling a broken product is selling a broken product. If I buy a game Friday and it doesn't work until Saturday, guess what? You just stole a day from me. Time I may have reserved to play what I just bought, time I may not otherwise have. Screw you for saying I have to be patient for that shit. So with years of evidence behind them, publishers and developers know they can't keep games up at launch, but they don't know when said games will be up. That doesn't stop them taking massive amounts of money from millions of people months in advance via pre-orders or on launch day itself, merrily taking your cash while knowing full damn well that they can't guarantee a smooth or even functional experience. They literally don't give a fucking shit once the cash is in their executives' tax-dodging bank accounts. Oh, server issues are a part of every game at launch, said one comment when I initially complained about Outriders. Aside from the fact that my problems with Outriders are more than a few fucking teething issues, what kind of justification is that? How does that not damn an entire fucking industry rather than exonerate one unplayable game? Why are standards for video games so fucking embarrassingly low? Why do the publishers have higher standards for you as customers than you have for the products you spend money on? Why are standards for video games so fucking embarrassingly low? These low standards apply to the working version of Outriders too, by the way. Oh, I've seen the critical acclaim that claims that this game is different from the average live service looter shooter. Oh, they say it's not even a live service, it's better than a looter shooter. It's unique and action-packed and a completely fresh entry into the genre. No. It fucking isn't. It's just another one. From what I have managed to play, it's practically indistinguishable from the average cookie-cutter live service looter shooter, only with slightly more confused gameplay as it tries to not encourage the use of cover, while paradoxically encouraging the use of cover by pelting as much gunfire at you as possible. I found some promise in the demo after you went through a Mad Max torture village, and I think the character classes might have some good ideas with them, but fuck if I know. I barely got any time with the game. Any opinion I have about this game, any first impression I got, could be wrong and based on the fact that I can barely play the fucking thing. And now I'm looking for a refund.
These potatoes are for the crisp makers. Ugh, here they won't come up.
We're too good to be any old crisp. We wanna be Smith Crisp. We wanna be Smith Crisp. Until we make you see that if we were Smith Crisp, if we were Smith Crisp, what tasty, light, and golden crisp we'd be.
I bet a Smith.
Smith's Crisps. So good, every potato wants to be one.
Exactly how much bullshit am I supposed to forgive? That's another question hanging from my gorgeous kissable lips when I'm told to be more patient, to give People Can Fly and Square Enix a chance. I gave that fucking game a week before I first posted a video about my problems getting into a working game and falling through the fucking map when I did. How is that not overly reasonable? It's 19 days later now. 19 days later. I know some gamers out there stand for multi-billion-dollar corporations in the misguided belief that said corporations are their whittle friends. But are we a community so bereft of dignity, and is games media so desperate for approval from Daddy Square Enix that we really have to condone and ignore gross oversteps like this? Whatever happened to people caring about games being always online, by the way? Doesn't make headlines like it used to. It should. All the shit that made headlines for being gross oversteps on the part of publishers still happens today. But the press and the wider community got bored of fee-to-pay microtransactions and excessive DRM and always online requirements years ago, and corporate thralls have subsequently engineered the narrative that this is all okay, that this is how video games have always been, that it's normal, and therefore justified through its normalization to have a game broken for days or even weeks after launch. And I almost can't blame some younger people for thinking it, the people who have grown up with always online microtransaction stuffed live games as a sleazy and predatory norm. The fact this is normal doesn't make it okay. Insurance companies getting people hooked on hydrocodone when they didn't need it and then limiting actual chronic pain sufferers' access to it when opioids became a crisis is considered normal in America. But that don't make it moral or even vaguely humane. It's shit. And I'm absolutely exhausted by AAA companies and their endless, unapologetic scam running. They can't guarantee they'll have the player bases to justify long-term support, but will use that promise of support anyway to justify releasing thoroughly unfinished garbage. They continue to sell these half-baked products with so-called roadmaps of content that they can't stick to because they spend too long trying to fix the broken crap they sold everyone. They turn the phrase always online into a misnomer by releasing games that can't fucking stay online. They've been pulling this shit for over 10 years, and as more and more people excuse it, validate it, argue in favour of it, and attack anybody for criticising it, the worse they've gotten. Agree? Don't. It's a fucking fact. Games have gotten worse. Even without the recent next-gen price hike, they've steadily offered less game for more money. The myth that games never raise their prices is undone by the reality of games pulling more content out of themselves to sell at a premium in season passes and loot boxes. I've watched AAA games get bigger in terms of open-world square footage, but inherently smaller in terms of content, story, and the kind of features and fun offered to players. I've seen unlockable costumes become paywalled gambling prizes. I've seen campaigns become flimsier, while add-ons get more expensive. I've seen entire game series shattered and broken and ghoulishly reshaped to serve manipulative in-game economies. I've seen $60 go from being the full price of a game to the start price for a game, the lowball offer that only gets you some of the experience. And all of this is before publishers had the sheer fucking temerity to start making $70 the new standard shell price. At what point do I stop being considered unreasonable for expecting better? Friend of the show, Podquisition co-host and colleague Laura Kate Dale is maybe the only person in the world who never had a problem with Marvel's The Avengers by Marvel in association with James Cameron's Avatar. And that just goes to show you that even something bug-riddled can have the whole stop-clocked effect. And maybe that's my problem. You know, maybe I just encountered bug after bug, one after the other, due to sheer bad luck. But the fact that that bad luck is possible is bad luck, you know? And as a critic, a game that's capable of wasting my time to such a degree is only providing an experience where I can tell you that my time was wasted to an obscene degree. Not only that, Outriders is the biggest waste of money that I have ever spent in this godforsaken fucking job. But those who got tickets to the Polyam Cult Party 3 will not have wasted their money, and you won't be wasting your time if you go to twitch.tv/GoProfessionalWrestling at 3 p.m. Eastern on April 24th and see yourself some wrestling and see Commander Sterling win in a Sterling Rules match. That is definitely going to happen because that's what I do. I win things. And also I am the Grand Champion region, so you can all have a look at that, right? Suck it. No, I don't want to say suck it. That's what D-Generation X would say on wrestling. But then the last thing I want to do is sound like a wrestler. What would I say? Oh, thank God for me.